Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that's right, it's time. It's time. It's time for Shop Talk tonight with your host, of course, Charles, Chuck, Greg, Blaster Pro.
Hello, everybody.
And I am, of course, Matt, the Human Muppet Wells. We have at Master Control, Mr. Hayden Charles Craig. He says,
we don't have a mic tonight.
he's not happy to be here. He's forced against his will. I'm pretty sure it's a kidnap.
Oh, we have no one here tonight. We had a full house last week,
And nobody here this week.
Just us tonight.
I won't be here next week.
You will or will not?
I will not.
Will not. Okay.
Just a reminder.
Matt next week.
Because I will be in North Carolina.
Will you be back for the weekend?
Yes, of course.
Just making sure.
I'll be leaving out Monday, and I can either come back Thursday evening or early Friday.
Okay, good. Well, at least that's covered.
Bacon.
You're asking about the sizzling bacon?
I thought I'd choose a different flavor than ranch.
Ranch is superior.
Ranch.
I almost got the pickle, but the dill pickle, but I know you said you didn't like those, even though you haven't tried it.
That is true. You did say that. Probably a good thing we don't have a mic tonight because we'd hear crunch, crunch, crunch. How was your week?
Not too bad.
I haven't seen you since
Saturday,
where we had a semi-productive work day.
It was a very productive work. We got everything I wanted to do done.
That's good.
Taking some stuff home with me.
I'm in reverse.
And,
it seems like I've been in reverse ever since my attempt at casting a piece from a new mold and realized I made it wrong. And
again,
made it wrong again. And I refused this year to go through the same struggles as last year with the way the mold is. So I guess I should have made myself a note. But anyway.
You did a mental note. It's just
I made a mental note, and for some reason, when I put it on that platform, I thought I was fixing my problems. And
because you even said you'd fixed it.
I thought I had. Actually, I had fixed one problem. That was the flange problem. And this time, it wasn't a flange that was the problem. But this problem did exist before also.
He apparently doesn't like it.
Yeah, they're not very good.
They're kind of too smoky.
That and
Nasty.
the seeds are not like they're chewy. They're not like completely baked like normal.
Yeah, I agree.
So, did you buy these at the dollar store? Where'd you get these?
UDF.
Okay. You always get Dave's.
I thought I'd try a different one. That's all that happened.
And what had happened?
It failed.
So anyway.
How's your weekend? Actually, I've got to take some of the stuff I did on Saturday home.
I was off work all last week. The harder I tried, the less I got accomplished.
That's always good.
So that's a big plus.
Yeah.
Straka.
Steven Straka says, "What? I'm the only one here? You are the only one.
Technically, there are probably people watching that are not showing up because
Nope. You are the only one here.
We've discovered that when you're not logged in but still watching, you don't show up in our thing. But anyway, that was fun. I've been doing some blaster work. Got a lot done this week, a little bit of a lot. And then Etsy's picking up, which is good.
I've got 98% of my Rancor Keeper done.
Cool. I'm started on a character. Or started on a costume.
Well, that's for.
I'm not even.
The Rancor Keeper is strictly because I told
Roxy.
Tony.
Yes.
No, I told Tony if he does a piggy, I will do.
I thought
you
said the next time you see Roxy, you were gonna have a Rancor Keeper.
Oh well, that was because he's doing the piggy though. Like the deal was that they're all coinciding.
Right.
So.
Well, that's cool. That's practically half of a costume anyway.
It's all of a costume. Just because it doesn't have a shirt doesn't mean it's not a full costume. No, I recognize nobody wants to see this, but that's not my problem.
I see it all the time.
It's not my problem.
I see it all the time. You make it
beautiful.
You make it everyone else's problem. Beautiful. I've been seeing things.
What are you seeing?
I don't know. I always see something out of the corner of my eye.
Jeff Hayes says, "Evening all. What do you
Hey,
see in the
Jeff.
corner of your eye?"
This is in honor of Jeff.
In honor of Jeff, because he bought one. It looks like he's on the toilet grunting one out.
That must suck for the casting process to hold that face. So anyway, besides that, I didn't work last week. This week, I barely had anything to do. I've worked an hour and a half between yesterday and today.
I got to go have dinner with my coworkers on my boss.
On your boss?
Yeah.
Kind of like a naked sushi?
No, not that on. Not that far on. Nope, no.
Oh, that's gross.
That is a little bit.
So anyway, let's talk about Etsy.
Etsy.com/shop/BlasterPro for all your blaster needs. Or if you actually want to see what they've got, it's BlasterProShop.com. That's right, BlasterProShop.com. You can actually see what is out there.
I've been getting a lot of feedback and a lot of questions through Etsy lately, and it feels like a lot of blasters are going to start being purchased, hopefully. Yeah.
But that's, but don't forget.
What's that?
I mean, it's just, there's no real sequitur here, so we're gonna move right into it. Like, I don't have a sequitur.
You know what? You can use a segue saying, "You see that blaster on Etsy? Stick around long enough, and we might actually have it up for a prize."
And in this case, we're doing the Blaster Pro Game Show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are out there and can win a blaster.
Yeah, and actually, this is the one contest that we do that
he said
that we do that
you do so well.
No one has to. All they have to do is watch.
And all they have to do is put their name in.
You have to put your name in, obviously, and then all you do is watch and see what happens.
Let's see what kind of fire happens.
Yep, because we pick 2 names from all the submitted names, and then we have two people playing kind of like a game show, and they both have names that they're playing for. They don't even know who they're playing for until we pick a winner.
Nobody knows.
And then they get to reveal the winner.
That's right.
So it's a lot of fun, and people with slower internet or people who are all the way on the other side of the planet,
all kinds of stuff,
are able to play because, hey, we had a few people participated from Europe.
I think we had
and
a new
Australia.
winner. We had a new person win last.
And a very new person we'd never seen before won. And we gained like, about 40, 50 subscribers in that whole.
Is that up since we told them we'd be up this week?
It is not up, and it is going up tomorrow, right? Yeah. It has to go up. We got to get it up tomorrow. He's okay. So we will be putting.
We need Aaron in here to help you get it up.
We will be putting up a video tomorrow, and there will be in the comments a stuck comment at the top where you can enter your name, and that is the only place we're going to draw names from this time, because it was a little bit hard after people start sharing on Facebook the post on Facebook. Different lists were being created in different places, and it was very hard to keep track of that.
We can always do it on Facebook. We have to point them over to
the make
YouTube.
It a sticky on
Facebook and say, hey, go over to YouTube, and
so we might do that also. But
your name won't count unless it's on the YouTube video. Yeah,
that's what we're saying right now. We might also make a sticky.
Change that.
We can make a sticky and add another place possibly, but for right now, YouTube. But the YouTube link to the YouTube will be running all over Facebook.
Yes.
So very easy to do. And that's also because it's a good idea to do it with a YouTube anyway, because you should subscribe so you get a notification when the show goes live so you don't miss the show.
Yay! Makes sense to me.
So it's going to be on the last Tuesday of the month, which is the 30th.
The 30th.
We're doing the game show. We also
the
Sean,
Blaster Pro game show.
Sean said he might be.
Sean said he would be able to do it.
It'll be you against Sean.
Me against Sean.
Unless you want to host and let Hayden be your You're going to have to coordinate with Hayden and put it all together.
I'm not coordinating. Yeah,
So I'm hosting again.
that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And the grand prize is this month's Blaster project, which is the upgrade to my A&H DL44 kit, the Hero kit.
It's a new blaster.
We don't have a picture of the old one, but
It's a new blaster.
it's a new blaster. It's pretty much a reworking of the entire kit, all the way down to the Mauser. The Mauser's going to be an upgraded Mauser, all that. So anyway, I thought we'd talk about my woes,
and
this
then I
week.
have Chuck. That's all I have. Chuck.
I have had some woes. Actually, let's not even talk about the woes. Hayden, pull up the very first one, the History Channel one. There you go. So this week, so far, I have finished this right here, Matthew.
Alien.
This is just a test. This is not going to be the finished one.
This is not.
Yeah. This
is not it. This is only a tribute.
It's just a test. But what do you think? Looks pretty good, don't it?
Get it. It is pretty cool. Is that how the knurling tool happens?
Yep.
Like
Yep. That was
so how exactly does the knurling tool work in this case then? Because when we do it on here, like it's just a ribbed piece of metal. So how do you get it into here?
You got to push it. It uses pressure.
Ah.
You got to force it in pretty strong, pretty tough.
I have to do the same with my wife.
Yeah. So that is done. Well, I got to make the final one. That's my first practice one.
10-man armor. Matt Meyer says, sup. And then Jeff says, I definitely won't be able to make it the 30th, first day of 2-day audit. Steven couldn't remember the greatest song in the world. This isn't the greatest song in the world. It's only a tribute. Somebody got it. It's okay.
Wow. But anyway, I like the way the tooling looks.
Yeah,
it looks good. Yeah. So,
but that's not the finished product.
That's not going to be the
prettier,
finished.
I guess. I don't know what you're.
No. See right here, I didn't get it right on the end, and what I need to do is I cut it off before I did a little thing called breaking the edge. Feel how sharp it is there, and then feel how dull. See how the front side is sharp, the front edge is sharp, and the back edge is not sharp.
Yeah. Okay.
That is called breaking the edge.
Okay.
And you do that so when you machine a part, that's pretty much like a knife's edge. You can cut yourself on it. So I did not do that on there, and it also creates a bit of a look. See how that looks right there? And I don't have that look on the front edge, and I need that look to finish it off. And if you go back and look at the picture of the actual piece, the tooling that was done on it is exactly the same. They, broke the edges.
If we look at the actual piece, then it's going to look like it's drawn on.
No, we're talking. That's something else. Wait until we do the rework or do some work on the Han Solo ESB Hoth.
Just an FYI, Action Force just put up some sweet Sergeant Slaughter figures. That's right. Everybody knows.
So this week,
the Sarge is back. Now I got to look it up.
This week I did, go ahead and I've been doing a lot of research. And go ahead and pull up the next photo, Hayden. Yeah.
Sergeant Slaughter.
This photo is just a quickie photo to show, because we've talked about this before. 2 different movies kind of showcased a few of the parts that went into, or the parts that went into the Han Solo Hero DL44. And the first part, the main part of the gun was created for a movie called Naked Runner from 1967, Frank Sinatra. The next movie is this one. I can't remember what it's called. It's something like
Silent Prey? Sitting Prey?
Sitting Prey or something like that. I think it's like Sitting Duck, Sitting Prey. So anyway, in that movie, the Mauser that was used in that movie was a World War II era select fire, semi-automatic, fully automatic, magazine-fed Mauser, not the old school Mauser.
Are you making a carbonite kits?
No, not right. No, not right now. We're just.
Playing around.
I was playing around because I got a hold of some Han and Carbonite files, and I wanted to see how accurate they are compared to a friend of mine who is getting. Well, Jeff,
he's right there.
is getting a set of pulls that are supposedly that have come from an original pull of a Han and Carbonite. And I wanted to check his against this print here. So anyway, so I this week created the Bullnose Mauser. It's all ready. Now, the reason why I haven't cast this yet is I came up against a dilemma. And it all has to do with the disc. Yeah, go to the Han Solo disc right there. That one right there. Yep. So I've been going over picture
That's a big disc.
after picture after picture of the DL44s, especially a lot of these. Like, see how he's wearing blue jeans in this?
Side there.
Huh?
What's going on with the left side of it?
What do you mean? That's a scope right there.
Oh, that's the scope. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
So
heck is that?
I can't figure out whether the big thing is the issue I'm having is, to me, every photo I see looks like the disc is not a disc on the gun. It's actually the gun has been machined or tooled, right? Go to the next photo, Hayden.
There's one up for auction.
There you go. Yes, there. I know there's one up for auction, and there's issues with that one also. Now, this photo actually, oh, I know why, because we see it reversed. I'm sorry.
Yes.
If you look closely in this photo, if you look at it, go to that.
Zoom.
Yeah, go to your zoomed thing. It still doesn't really look. I'm trying to find. I have one that looks like it's
like a piece that was on it that fell off.
Well, actually, I don't know if it was or not. And I'll tell you what now this is my theory. Go ahead and pull up, Hayden. That right there. Yep. My theory is
What's that? What's going on there?
this is the gun from Naked Running. And this is the actual the left-hand side of the gun. It's a reverse image we're seeing. You remember how that all works when we're looking at it?
Yeah, I remember.
So that was to attach a scope. And if you look at the forward scope mounts, where it's got a base it's sitting on. Now,
I see what you're saying.
This is the Bullnose Mauser that was made for this movie. And what I believe is this gun was put together by a professional gunsmith. Meaning this guy is the type of guy that doesn't mess around. He wants to make sure all of his surfaces have proper alignment with the barrel of the gun, especially for the scope mount. Actually, right there, you see that right there coming in out of the top? That is actually going to slide over the rear knob. And there's another one corresponding forward that fits onto the forward knob, and then you screw those down tight, and that locks in the scope.
Do you have that book from ILM, the Star Wars Indiana Jones one?
Yes. You all those books, they have good pictures and they have some information, but they really they don't have the whole story. And the reason why the whole story isn't there is because no one wrote it down at BAPTI. The old guy that built the gun says, well, I just threw a bunch of crap parts here and a bunch of crap parts here. And he can't identify all the parts he originally used either, but it basically said his instructions were to get the crappiest parts they had. Anyway, this gun was tooled and machined, and I believe that forward knob and that back knob, the bases were machined down.
You don't really see the back knob, though, do
Okay,
you?
no, you don't see it, but if you notice, pull it back up here on me. If you notice this area here and this area here on the gun body, they're at the same plane. But if the gunsmith, when he was working on this, wanted a firm foot for that mount to sit on, he would have tooled this down level with this right here, where these reliefs are. Now, here's the thing. This is level with this. So if it was tooled down to this recess right here, this would have to be tooled down to the recess also, correct? I think that's the disc. I think it's the tooling marks that were, or the tooling that was done to properly attach the, go ahead and keep using that one. No, not that one. Just keep that back up.
No, bring up the really close one. I want to see
that. I think that is the tooling that was done to make those two scope mounts. No, I don't need that yet.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Okay.
Because that looks like it has shadow right through there, though.
There's the grills on it. There's another photo that I've been using that actually shows a glare, but it's on the inside, like it's catching the inside of the. It's this photo right here.
But it's not nearly.
It's not really blown up, but
enhance.
We didn't go through. It took 10 minutes to. It took more. I've been doing a lot of research and been looking at a ton of pictures. But when we went to set up the show tonight, I did all that on another computer.
Women have anything to do with this?
I was the one that suggested.
Never mind.
I know Hayden said, pull all your information together, and I thought it'd be easier. I thought I could find everything I was looking for. But anyway, so this is my personal theory. When the Han Solo gun went to Lucasfilm or went over to the studio to be shot, they sent over the ability to make several different configurations. And I think now, if you've ever messed or seen anybody tear a Mauser down, you release a little lever and then pull the bolt out, and then this whole top assembly comes off. And then the lower assembly is left by itself, right? So you can easily take the upper assembly of a Mauser and change it to another Mauser, but the trigger group, the hammer, the safety, the grips, they all stay in the lower assembly, and that can all be changed around. So you can change the upper assembly to a different lower assembly. So that means you get a different safety lever, different hammer, triggers, grips are different. So in my research, in my looking, if we look at, like you said, there's one up for sale right now. Yes and no. The reason why I think it's a yes and a no, it's only part of the original gun. And even at Bapti, they also said, these are the parts we still have of the original gun. They don't think they have all of it. And what I think they're actually missing is the lower assembly.
Okay.
And since it was custom built for one movie, and then it was modified on the right-hand side for another movie, now you have a lower receiver of a broom handle Mauser that has holes and tooling on left and right side. It can never be used as a hero Mauser or a regular Mauser again for any shoots. So they probably at one time just said, this is garbage, get rid of it, we need to clean out the Mauser room or whatever. So I think that part got lost. I am very much on the belief that this gun, the A&H Hero, the only thing that really still exists of it is the scope mount, and the upper receiver. The lower receiver doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
So they have to add. So all the one that's out there now, the one that I think is going for, I think it almost went for $1 million at one time. I think it was just another lower and put together with, and then they drilled and tapped and made everything fit. Now here's the problem with my theory, right? Pull up, Hayden, let me see which one you got loaded. You all right, Matt? This is the ESB Stunt. Now, the ESB Stunt and the Mir Sun Power 5 were made from the same casts, right? And it's a Bullnose Mauser cast.
Okay.
And you can actually match the serial number you see in that picture. You can match the serial number with actually the first picture we had, and the serial numbers match, because I think the serial number's on the other side of the gun. But anyway, yeah, it is on the other side of the gun. But anyway, that Bullnose Mauser, that upper is the same upper that's in this photo, but I think it's a different lower. And the reason why I believe it's a different lower, look right there at the safety lever. This right here is a safety lever here in the back. If we go back to the photo from Naked Runner, Hayden, not that one.
That's the only one we got.
No, Naked Runner's that one. Look at the safety lever
through it.
It's got a hole through it. Yes. Or it's got an indentation drilled into it. I don't know if it goes all the way through or not. I've seen other pictures where it looks like it hasn't gone all the way through.
Okay.
So anyway, that does not have that detail. So what I've been trying to do is find a picture showing the disc that shows that indentation, because that shows that that's the lower assembly that they used. I think this upper assembly was on a different Mauser frame. They took molds of it. They tried to mock up some guns from it. They didn't like it. And they said, hey, wait a minute. Or here's an alternate idea. And then rebuilt the gun with the original lower that was for Naked Prey or Naked Runner. And then they put the scope on the right side instead of the left. And then the detail was here. So they said, oh, and, the prop guys, because when Bapty gives you the gun, they'll give you the scope and all that stuff and tool it and put it together. But all the plastic engine parts and all the other crap, that all came from set dressers, guys, or prop guys that were like, oh, okay, and we got to gussy this up a little bit more. Bring up that.
If nobody else noticed or knew about any of this stuff, you're not alone. I just want to toss that out.
Bring up that that one right there. Yeah, that. Now, here's the thing. In this picture, I think this picture has got it. Look in the picture where the safety lever is.
Okay.
Now, the thumb is covering up where the machining would be right here. You never can see it in his hands. Okay? But here, look. Go back. Bring the picture back.
Can't barely see what you're trying to show.
I know. It's hard to tell. But look right there, Matt.
Yeah, the trigger assembly. But
that's not the trigger symbol. I'm talking, that is the safety.
But it's been cocked back, so you can't really see.
No, that's the hammer right there. That's the safety right above it.
It's just too blurry to really be able to tell anything, in my opinion.
Well, I know, but that is the only, that does look like there's a hole in that safety lever.
Okay.
I think that's the best photo I found that kind of corroborates what I'm thinking. I think there was a mold made of this gun when it was not with that receiver, with that lower assembly. And I think that mold is the one they used for the Mirror Sun Power 5 and the Mirror Sun Power 5 and the ESB Stunt. I think that was just a throwaway mold they had laying around to make stunts and to make holster stuffers.
Yeah.
For the guys. Wow. Well, if you can find,
I don't know any of this.
The thing we're looking for is the disc and really a hole cut or drilled out charging or a drilled out safety lever, because those are the two.
So what are the two movies that's in?
One of them is Naked. It's called Naked Runner. It's a Frank Sinatra movie from the 1967. You can watch the entire movie on YouTube, but it has like a Spanish title, but it's still all in English and everything. I think that's why they're getting around. That's how they got around the copyright, not getting it pulled down.
So what's the other one?
And the other one is called, I believe it's called Sitting Prey or something like that. It's a revenge film. Basically, the guy is going around with that Mauser and
yeah. Go ahead and look up Naked Runner. See what happens there.
yeah. Naked Runner. It'll be in there. You'll find one that's got.
I'm going to do that on YouTube right now just to see what happens.
Hayden, do go to YouTube on Rodney's computer.
Naked runner.
This procedure's never been done before.
I know. This is another thing I was getting ready to talk to you about dinner, but we were so much enjoying the
Double X Sports and Art Collection. I got
No, there it is, right there. See that right there?
that one. El Cervico Secreto Accio.
1 hour 40 minutes. That's it. So anyway, I've gone over every piece of old. I've got books. I've got behind the scenes books. I've got all kinds of stuff. The real problem is that any pictures you do find that are really good detailed, they're always of the right side of the gun and never the left side of the gun. The only good pictures you get well, not even good pictures. Only reference.
No, that says the naked prey. I thought maybe that was it, but it says you had prey in it because you were saying it was that. Naked joggers.
How about silent prey?
Brazilian naked joggers.
Sitting prey.
I'm just looking up what you told me to.
Anyway, I am almost 100% sure that the Han Solo hero movie prop.
It's coming up with just a bunch of stuff for the new Prey show.
Oh, okay. That lower assembly just disappeared. No one has it.
What was that about?
That was my pressure blow off valve.
Did you go to YouTube?
I did a couple of browser checks and have determined that Rodney's PC is not fit for doing anything on the internet in its current state.
Okay.
I don't want to touch it.
So anyway, in the movie, there's a scene where he builds it. He builds it twice.
Okay. Prey was a really good movie.
Ah, cool. So in the movie, he builds the gun.
In the Star Wars movie, Solo, a Star Wars movie, they kind of did a.
They did the same thing, yeah.
They did it an homage to that.
Yes, they did.
I knew about that, and I thought that was a really neat homage with Woody Harrelson doing that.
The only differences are, one of the differences is instead of taking the flash suppressor off the long barrel and putting on the short barrel, there was actually a silencer on the rifle, so, but yeah, the gun itself,
I think they may have used the Luke lower for the same shot. They are talking Hans Blaster in New Hope or Empire.
New Hope.
New Hope.
Yeah, this is all New Hope. This is the A New Hope Hero DL-44. Of course, the Greedo Killer was a totally different Mauser here in the United States, and that wasn't kind of made dressed up to look similar to it. But do you think I ought to make that one I showed you, the real long barreled backward scope one?
That would be great.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
One of the pictures we found, so the barrel on it ends up being like this long. It was like, wow.
With a very goofy flash suppressor.
Scope is backwards, so it was kind of neat.
And we're like, what in the world?
Who did that?
So my dilemma is I can't find enough proof to go ahead and machine the disc
So you're just going to use a disc?
Well, yeah, and this frame will be used on two other blasters that I'm making, and it's the Mir Sun Power 5 and the Mir Sun Power 5 and the ESB Stunt, because the resin copies of that blaster or of the blank Mauser without all the Han Solo stuff on it.
Adam Savage Tested has a decent episode about one.
Yes, but their information is still kind of in the gray areas on a lot of the stuff that they use. So all the pieces that are on Adam Savage kit was an RPF guy on RPF ran it all off, and they even misspelled the name.
Actually, that's not a bad shot of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Dude.
This is the one I was looking at. See, doesn't it look like there's a little bit of a reflection right there?
It's also it's all the way through on the.
That's the hammer.
Oh, well, never mind.
The hammer is easy to see, and the hammers all have the hole through
I see it now.
It's the It's the safety
So
lever.
Jeff Hayes just sent us a picture that kind of has exactly what he's talking about.
And in that picture, doesn't it look like it's tooled into the gun and not a piece sitting on the gun?
I don't know. Actually, yes, because so here's your lighting.
Yeah,
We'd have to. You and I will talk about that part later, but
but anyway, I believe personally that the disc is a machined-in area for that lower that's used in.
Based on the picture we just received, I have to agree with you.
And there's also this area here has been machined to accept.
That we can't tell because we don't.
There's no picture available because every time Harrison Ford has the gun in his hand, his thumb
covers it up.
Is covering that area.
And he's got a glove on, so
yes.
It makes it even bigger.
But I believe this area here was machined level to this surface here to give it a nice flat bed. And in doing so, to make the sight of the scope not do this, but to stay straight in alignment with the barrel, this was tooled down maybe, what, 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch, whatever the height of this area was.
It does look like it's machined into the finish.
So my dilemma is, do I machine it or do I not machine it?
Well, because you're going to be doing that for a couple of other blasters.
Yes.
And those blasters do not require that machined piece.
I'm not going to do it.
I would say it would be a bad
But
idea.
Do I do it when I build one of these? Do I chuck it up in the lathe and run a Forstner bit into the body to give it the disc?
Yeah, but even if you did the Forstner bit, would you? Oh, yeah, I guess you could.
The Forstner bit will look like tooling in the, and that hole that's in the middle is for the threaded base to go in and lock into the gun. So, they had very tight tolerances that they were dealing with to not interfere with the interior magazine well.
Yeah, see, that one doesn't really show it, though, Jeff.
Let me see. That's the wrong gun, Jeff. That's a Greedo killer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been looking at these pictures nonstop. I just came in late to the party.
Oh, by the way, look at that picture again. That picture is after filming because Harrison Ford has a haircut.
Which one here?
No, the one there. If you see,
it's his waist, literally.
If you see the
unless he's trimming his pubes, I'm not seeing shit.
If you see that full picture, Harrison Ford has a big time haircut.
It almost looks like it could be used for a small sanding disc similar to a Dremel.
What's that?
Matt Meyer says it almost looks like you could use a small sanding disc.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, now the old kit does have a raised disc that fits there, and going with Star Wars,
Chuck's right. It just snipped the gun. His hair is way shorter.
Yeah, it was a photo taken after the fact. If you go with the way Star Wars Greeblies work, a Mauser that hadn't been modified would have had a disc put there if they decided to put something there. They would have just put a aluminum disc or a piece of a record player or a tape player or whatever there. Just like the Mirsun Power 5 actually has a record player pulley right there. So with everybody's conclusion that they added a disc there is kind of would go along with what really does happen in the gussing up process of these guns.
Flying around.
I know. I got him.
Oh, good job.
But anyway, I think this one though, it was tooling. It was actually a gunsmith tooled that lower receiver for those parts.
It will give you a circular pattern without putting it in a lathe.
Yeah, but we want to be accurate. If it is tooled in, I would like it to be, you know what I mean? Or if that's what he's talking about, using a Dremel to tool it in.
You wouldn't spin the gun.
It would be actually, what was that?
I always thought that you removed and roughed up the area to make adhesive part sticks. I'm not sure what that means.
No, he's trying to say you stuff things up.
Yeah. Now, there are blasters out there that they've been doing research on where things were glued to the gun and then fell off, but they could see the shape of the glue pattern left behind, trying to figure out what was there.
Okay, I'm going to read all these together to see
Okay.
what the hell's going on. It will give you a circular pattern without putting it in the lathe. I always thought you removed the roughed up area to make. I'm sorry. I always thought the removed and roughed up that area to make the adhesive parts stick in the original.
Now I don't see. These were all rentals. So most of them, they use basically rubber cement on a lot of stuff to hold the detail pieces on. And if everything fell, if anything, well, it's for a fact that the Solo Hero had stuff on the upper barrel that came off almost instantly when it went in the holster. And that's the little T. They actually used some T-track. Which was actually wiper blades that they used on the Stormtrooper T-tracks, and they put two little push rod pieces off of another model kit on there. They did the exact same thing to the Mir Sun Power 5.
When you look at the front vents, they are cut then for a part to fit that's not there.
Actually, I think they cut that piece to show off that detail. See, if they put the piece on, it would have covered half that disc. So by cutting that piece out, it exposed the whole disc and made it look like that, if you know what I'm saying. I think they cut the that grill piece is a radial engine jug, and it come in halves, and it fit perfect around the front of the gun. And I think they tooled that out to show off that disc, since it was kind of like it's kind of a weird thing to have on the gun anyway, and it kind of gave it a different look. It took away from the Mauser look. It didn't look like a Mauser, or it didn't look like something that would be on a Mauser, which it wouldn't have been. And they actually the one is above the other. I've noticed the one on the front is higher than the one in the rear. If you go back and look at the photos of the Naked Runner gun, one knob is higher than the other, but I think that's a characteristic of the scope mount itself, the way it was built. Because I think the scope mount that was used is an Enfield rifle scope mount that is also similar to the scope mount that is used on the I can't remember what it's called. It's the MG. Was it the MG-18?
15.
The MG-15. Sorry, yeah, the MG-15 heavy blaster, which is like a C97 or C92 or something. I can't remember what it's called. It's a Sand Trooper carried it. Had no buttstock, double magazines. It used an old Enfield scope mount, and that scope mount looks very similar to the scope mount that they used on this. And those were used for sniper scopes during World War II. And they were designed to fit on the side of those Enfield rifles on the upper works. So adapting it to fit on a pistol.
That one was bad.
I told you those things, I think half of those are bad. But anyway,
What is he talking about?
that you just add a bad sunflower seed.
I don't think any of
So that's where my week has been. I believe it's a tooled in. I've yet to find the last piece of evidence to say it. And what really would be tie it all together is to finding a picture of the blaster assembled with the left side, not the right side. You keep seeing nothing but great pictures of it sitting on a stand or sitting on its side. Production photos of the blaster, but you never see a good photo of the left side. And I think this area has been tooled, and I think this is tooled. Now, the thing is, do I tool this also back here?
You never see it.
You never see it, so you don't know. So, yeah, so you can't tell from none of the photos, no shots, no screenshots from the cantina scene will work, because that was shot with the Greedo killer and not with this. So all you have is the scene of the Solo and Jabba
Well,
the
wouldn't
Hutt.
this be more flush then, or would?
No, those were totally different Mausers.
No, I'm just saying because it's the same concept. No matter how I'm talking about, without this piece here, I'm talking about the same type of gun. If we both had blanks,
Right?
shouldn't this be raised up, or is this only going to be lowered down?
No. See, I think to get a firm footprint, this was tooled to be level right here.
Okay.
And then this was, since these two areas here are on the same plane, this was tooled to match where this was tooled down to give it a good footprint.
Okay.
That way, see, if this back was,
Yeah, I remember.
so the scope would shoot off this way.
Yeah.
So what he wanted, what I believe is they tooled the rest of the gun to bring the scope in line. Because to make this Bullnose Mauser, that was a gunsmith that did that.
Yeah.
That was a person, a real artisan that did this. So he got contracted to make a gun for a movie. Well, he's not going to make, he's a gunsmith. So he's in his mindset, even though it's for a movie, it's going to function and work just like a real gun for him. So in my imagination, a gunsmith would have, especially, a true gunsmith, which is what's required to make this, and then another barrel that screws on, and then a suppressor that goes to that, and then add a scope to it. He would make sure that scope was in the same line as the barrel. So, yeah, I believe this was lowered because it had a poor footprint, and then this was machined also to create a steady line, a straight line. That or both those surfaces may not have been straight and level. So he had to machine both surfaces to get them perfectly perpendicular to accept a scope, and then, screw everything down nice and tight and have a straight sight. That's my theory. So I'm thinking if we can ever find any evidence, we're going to find tooling back here and find the little hole.
I just don't know that you're going to find any evidence.
I'm looking hard. I am looking very hard. And I think that one photo, the one you said is way too grainy. I think it shows that this has a hole in the middle of it.
I think we should build a time machine and we can just take the pictures.
Go back to Bapty in 1976 and figure this shit out.
There you go.
Because everybody treats this. Could you imagine if you're working as a master, an armorer in a shop like Bapty, and you do dozens of movies a year, and you're constantly pulling from your inventory, like the Naked Runner gun was sitting in their inventory. They're like, maybe one day we'll have another movie we can use it for. And we also found that scope and its scope mount that was used on the Hero was also in their inventory because they supplied the guns for prey. Yeah. So, yeah. So we already know they were there, and they just put them together in this configuration. It would be cool if you go back to find old Mir Sun Power 5s or pictures of the Mir Sun Power 5 or the ESB stunt, and you can see evidence of the tooling. And I think the reason why we don't see the evidence is because the lowers were changed at one time. When it was just a bare Mauser, it had that big fat barrel on it. Maybe it was something they were looking at and they were going to do some work with, and then like, well, we don't really want to drill holes in this lower, but we already got one that's been messed with. We already got one that's kind of junk because it's already been used once before, and it had all this machining work done to it. So to drill 2 more holes in it and tap 2 more holes on the other side to a lower that's already garbage, it's no big deal. Yeah. Like Naked Runner was never like a huge success movie, so no one saved the old briefcase and kept the gun in the briefcase in the way it was in the movie. That would be cool, but they didn't do that. So my theory is they put this receiver on a lower, sent it out, and they said, we want to put a scope on it.
That would be the best way to search for that. Yes.
Sinatra, Naked Runner, yeah. And if you when you find it, there will be a few naked pictures of some people. Actually, I think there's a gynecological picture.
There is one down there, yeah.
But you will find one that has a different title. It's like Spanish or something.
I think it's Italian.
Or Italian, might be Italian. Anyway, it says 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's the movie. And basically, it's a Frank Sinatra movie.
Which means I can't believe it didn't do well.
If you go to start searching around the last 10 minutes, he's going to assassinate somebody. And the guy, he's sitting on top of a hill, like in a little field. And you'll see him break open the case, pull the gun out, and assemble it. And that's the best time you ever see the gun being assembled at that scene. He does it another time in an apartment, but the lighting isn't as good as it is outside, and you can't see as many details. So the better scene is near the end of the movie when he's sitting up on the hill, and you'll see him build the gun. And basically, it's the Han Solo blaster in its most complete form, if you ask me. It's just a different scope. But I think it's the lower and the upper are still together as one. Are you looking down the scope? Yeah, keep going, though. See, it's a different scope. Keep going. He's going to get to the top of the hill. He's going to sit down. Now he's going to go back to the bag. Keep going. He's putting little rocks on the road for marking his shots. There it is. He's putting a buttstock on.
Putting a buttstock on a Mauser.
Yep. Now he's grabbing the barrel.
Putting a barrel on a Mauser.
Yep. Then the suppressor.
Putting a giant suppressor on a Mauser, on a now Mauser rifle.
Now he's going to lay it across the thing. That's the pick.
See,
yeah. And there's the scope.
You could have given like that shot would have been best to see instead of the close-up version.
Okay.
I think that would have been good to see for everybody to see.
You're right. You were right here when I did it. Why didn't you say something?
Because I didn't know what the hell you were doing.
Oh, all right.
My job is to be comic relief.
So
I'm the sidekick.
My issue is I think I am going to when it's a Hero, A&H, Bullnose, I think I'm going to machine it. And
if you want to see what we're talking about, you're going to go to the 1 hour 36 minutes.
1 hour 36
That's when you're going to get to see it.
Yep. Your thoughts? I think I've gotten
I think you have a good idea, and I
think it's a fair argument, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think it would be a great argument.
Now, I've been doing some stupid stuff this week, spending hours doing this, and we have photos. Now we know that the one we were talking about earlier that's up for auction,
which is why you on the interior line of that. Yeah, that's it.
There's a photo of the finished gun on. It just gives you. It's like I said. It's sitting there on a stand or laying on its side, but it's only giving you the right side and a picture of the scope mount and all that in the scope. And then there's some damage in the grips. You can see some wear in the wooden grips. And I was going back and I was actually taking stills and trying to match between. I got like 5 pictures open, and they're all over.
You had more than that. I saw some of the pictures.
And they were all over the screen, and I'm laying them over each other, and I'm sitting them next to each other, and I was like, okay, that little nick right there looks right, or that, and then you look at another picture, and it's like, oh, that's not really a nick. That's just a piece of dirt or something. And I kept trying to match wooden grips at the same time.
Good luck with that.
And there's writing here. It's it's Mauser manufacturer company. It's all in German. It's all written on this side right here in this area right here. And I was trying to see, because not all of them had that on it. I was trying to see if that was the writing was there on which versions. And I went down a million different paths trying to.
It sounds like a rabbit hole.
It is a rabbit hole, but I was trying to figure, because this disc thing has bugged me a long time, because some people. 90% of people out there are just putting discs on them and saying, screw it and go. No one's tooling the guns.
Yeah, which
And if it should be tooled, I think it should be tooled. And
I do too.
I am going to start a trend until we definitively find out it's a disc, which I don't think it is a disc. I think
it
it
in
is
some
tooled.
cases they have put a disc there to cover it up.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. Do you remember when my Mere Sun Power 5 hit and no one else was making them? A lot of things that are now Mere Sun Power 5 standards, they're my standards. Like how I've solved problems, I didn't know what went there, so I put something here, and then now you're seeing like graphic, blueprint style drawings of them, and it's got my details in it.
See, I think it's funny that if you pull up, like,
if you pull up like ESB stunt,
it's going to pull up your gun.
It's going to pull up my gun because I think I'm one of the only people that actually make and sell the Empire Strikes Back stunt. And I love it because it showed up. My favorite part about the ESB stunt is it was on the Muppet Show.
Yes, it is.
Because he sent me a couple too.
He sent you this one. It's actually, if you could zoom in on that, would be
that
nice.
I have that picture and it doesn't have the detail.
The zoom just doesn't. See, but the thing is, okay, but look at the thumb there, right? Look above his thumb. You should be able to see that at that point. If there was tooling on the backside.
You're right. Now, there's another theory that I have that there's a plate put on that. No, well, the reason why is this detail right here.
Yeah.
Some guns don't have, they have that detail. Some Star Wars screen used props don't actually have this piece put on it. They just have little holes drilled in it. Like they just did shallow holes right next to each other. And also with these pieces here, some of these, now a lot of them are resin, like holster stuffers or whatever. So they didn't put the greeblies on them. They just drilled 2 holes in it. And a lot of those are used for reference. And I know in that photo we were just looking at, you're right, and I saw this photo, and that's another one of the ones that threw me off. That's why I want to see the I'm not going to tool the back of the gun because I can't find that.
Yeah.
But I might put the hole in there because I think the hole still is in
valid
on the I think on the Han Solo Hero. I think it has a hole in the middle of the safety lever.
Valid.
Just as much as I think it has a tooling to get that line of sight for the scope and a flat level foot for the scope. I know it's a lot of research.
He's put a ton of research.
I know more about this gun now than I ever should have. I've learned more. I started by reading the RPF.
Giant.
I read the RPF. I read the RPF stuff on it, and then I kept pushing beyond that and started coming up because I don't know if I've even heard too many people talk about. Maybe it was tooled, and it does make sense if Lucas came back to Bapty and says, can we put holes in this and mount a scope to this? And they're like, just give us the gun back. We're going to do something, right? So, because this is an era when they wanted blank firing guns because they want a poof of smoke and they want a poof of flame. That's why they used Sterlings. Blank firing Sterlings. That's why. So basically, to get that, they would have to have a functioning gun. But Bapty may have been to the point where they didn't want to
put another hole in a different gun.
They didn't want to mess up another lower of a gun, so they sent it back with that scope from Prey on it, using the base. Lower from Naked Runner, which had already been tooled once before. And then they took it and said, hey, that looks great. Then they give it to the other guys. And then it's like they're going to glue some pieces on. It's like, hey, this right here, we could cover that up, or maybe we just cut out this piece here and make it look like it's part of the gun. And
I get it.
you know, it's using something that already exists as an inspiration. And I'm almost 100% sure that's kind of maybe what happened. Maybe.
Kind of, maybe. 100% sure.
Or maybe I am totally 110% off the mark and don't know what I'm talking about, but I spent way too much time working on this.
I think it's the booze.
It's not just one beer.
It's always more fun when I say it.
But
that's it. Chuck's is done.
No, I just scratched the one off, but
You scratched off Chuck's.
I scratched off the thumb screw because I hadn't already.
Oh, the thumb screw. Like, that's all. Like,
If anybody
holy
else,
crap.
if anybody else has any other ideas or any photos, you know what to look for. Look for a hole here and tooling here. I really believe that there's nothing here. I think it's a machined section of the gun. And like I said, I think it was machined for the Sinatra movie so you could get that scope mount to fit properly. I think that's what it is. And also, I also noticed that gun does not have, that version of the Mauser does not have that right there. They're flat from here down. So that's another thing. So that actually, I was looking into some guys that were doing Mauser, just doing a thing on not Bullnose, but the broom handle Mausers. Some of them have barrels like this long, you know, and they were talking about the differences in the different lineages of the gun all the way up to World War II when they were magazine fed and they had a selector switch right here, and they were full auto. They were originally some 7-point-something millimeter. Now, for World War II, they were 9 millimeter. So the later ones have nothing. They have the rough mechanics is the same, and the overall shape is the same, but the frames and everything are totally different on the later Mausers. None of the parts are interchangeable. Although it's cool to see one of these fire full auto. Neighbors. So anyway, do you have anything to add?
This is a subject that I don't know much about. So
Or cared to know, right?
No, it's fine though. I always learn shit down here.
So I'm thinking
Most times I feel like I my brain hurts when I leave sometimes, but you know.
I am thinking that that is the case. And for the mold,
So is that why you have the circular version on this one?
yes, that is actually, yeah. So what happened was, like I said, this is a half of a radial engine,
and then that goes on the front of it.
and they cut it for the scope mount, and then they put it on there, and it covered up half that hole. And it's like, hey, wait a minute, why don't we just take the Dremel and notch that out and make it a part of the detail of the gun? And it kind of makes sense, you know. If you're a prop guy and you were given this gun, it's already got the scope on it, and you're looking at it, and they said, well, just trying to make it look less like a Mauser, and you got this, and it's like, this thing fits great.
But a Mauser, like it's a Mauser.
Yeah. Well, you still can't. You still can't. I think the reason why they used it in a lot of those movies in the 70s, 60s, and 70s is because it was such an odd-looking gun. In 1967, this is the last thing you would want to turn into a sniper rifle. You have, in the 60s, especially in the late 60s, you had many, many, many better choices than this old thing. It's just the fact it has the big old stock, it's a big robust frame. You got the ability to do some weird tooling and put a bigger barrel on it. I don't think they changed the caliber of the gun or anything like that. I think they just put this on here so it could accept another barrel out here, because the way those barrels were, they tapered off a lot near the end of the barrel. So I think they tooled one of these up so it could accept another barrel, accept a flash or a silencer, and then of course machine the sides of it to accept a scope here, because the scopes all came on the left side, and then you kind of put it up there and you aimed off down the left side. So I think Bapty didn't want to mess up another lower Mauser, so they took the gun back and gave them the lower from Naked, from the Sinatra movie, Naked Runner, and tooled it to have a scope put on the other side.
Okay.
And that makes total sense, instead of messing up another Mauser.
Yeah.
Lower. But I think they sent them this because it had a big barrel and looked more sci-fi.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's my opinion. That's my theory. Should have wrote my college thesis on it. Now the trick is to find that one photograph out there. Sorry, Hayden, did I mess up the mic? The trick is to find that one photograph out there that proves my theory right. And we're looking for, like I said, a drilled out safety lever and a machined front. And I think should we review?
Oh, yeah, we can review.
All right. That's it. And if anybody does find those photos, message them to me, because I have gone nuts looking.
Blaster Pro on Facebook.
Yeah. Or
Charles Craig.
Yeah. So anyway,
Not to Matt Wells, though, because I don't care.
Matt doesn't care. But as of when I do build these, until I figure it out, I'm going to be tooling these guns. I'm not going to tool the Master because there's 2 other blasters. Everyone will get the tooling individually.
Wow.
It's going to be an extra bit of work. And I'm even contemplating drilling a little bit of that out too.
Interesting.
It should be. But anyway, this month, our giveaway night will be
August 30th.
On the 30th.
Will be the Blaster Pro game show.
Sean will be our special contestant that night.
Special contestant number 1.
No one out there has to play. The only thing you guys need to do when we put up the promo video for doing this game, there will be a spot in there to leave your name.
I got to dig up my ILM book because I can't even find one online.
And that video will be going live tomorrow. It's going to be all over Facebook. It'll also be launched off of, obviously, this channel. So keep an eye out for that. Hayden's on top of it, right, sir? He's not very confident. So it should be out tomorrow. If not, look for Thursday. Anything else to add?
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Say goodnight, Matt.
Good night, Matt. Bye.
Good night, everybody.